Friends, very good morning to all of you. In our previous session, we have completed our discussion on rates of taxes, various rates various slab rates we have covered, rates applicable to companies, cooperative societies, etc. We had learned in our previous class. We'll be very quickly recapitulating those concepts again. Then we'll be learning new more concepts. What are the various types of taxes? Then maybe what is income, and then revenue receipt, capital receipt, all these concepts we are planning to learn today. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with you right now. Are you able to see the PPT file?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Just a minute. Yeah. So earlier you already know the rate of taxes, or most of the rate of the taxes, that is rate of the income tax that we are talking about. They are provided in the Finance, right? We need to refer to the Finance Act of the relevant assessment year, right? And there are some special rates like tax on long-term capital gain, tax on, let us say, lottery income kind of thing. These are few rates which are provided in the Income Tax Act itself. Otherwise, most of the income tax rates are provided in the Finance Act. And I had already shown you the structure of Finance Act, and you already know that the first schedule of the Finance Act is important for us, because in the first schedule, part 1 contains income tax rates. And also, you know, this first schedule's part 1 of a Finance Act is normally copied from the part 3 of the previous Finance Act, right? That means what was there in the previous Finance Act, let us say Finance Act, if you think Finance Act 2020, what was part 3 in the Finance 21, which is yet to come? The same thing, the part 3 will become part 1. Okay, this concept you have already understood, is it not? Then already I had told you various slab rates for different kinds of assesses. For individuals, HUF, AOP, BOI, HAP, for assessment year 21-22. And you know, this is the slab rate up to 2,50,000 nil, then above 2,50,000 and up to 5 lakh 5%, then above 5 lakh up to 10 lakh 20%, above 10 lakh 30%. So the slab rate is 5%, 20%, 30%, like this. I had already explained you earlier what is rebate under section 87A, and you know, because of this rebate, income tax up to 12,500 rupees, relief will be given for a tax amounting up to 12,500 rupees. Because of which, if the income is up to 5 lakh rupees, tax becomes nil, is it not? And you know, there is a health and education cess of 4%. This is levied on IT plus surcharge. Surcharge separately, I had already told you. And also, you know, the concept of alternate minimum tax we have already discussed. For senior citizen, this is the slab rate up to 3 lakh nil. Then, of course, 5%, then 20%, 30%. Section 87A is applicable. Senior citizen means we are referring to those people whose age is above 60 years, or who are of 60 years or above, but less than 80 years of age. And for very senior citizen or super senior citizens, total income up to 5 lakh is exempt. That means tax rate is nil. Above 5 lakh up to 10 lakh 20%, above 10 lakh 30%, right? Rebate under 87A is applicable. All the situations, surcharge is applicable. Health and education says 4% is applicable. AMT is also applicable if the total income exceeds 20 lakh. Right? Yeah. And this rebate under section 87A, you already know that this concept. In the previous session, I had shown you in Excel file how to calculate this rebate. And also I had shown you by using the tax calculator, right? I think by this time, all of you must have made yourself familiar with the tax calculators, which are available in the Income Tax Department's website. Okay, have you tried using this tax calculator? Anyone has tried? Use of
Yes,
tax?
sir.
Okay, thank you. So this rebate says, or this particular provision says, if the total income is less than 5 lakh or equal to 5 lakh, then deduction up to 12,500 can be given from the tax liability. Okay, so how much deduction? The 100% of the tax or 12,500 rupees, whichever is less. So maximum amount of deduction is 12,500 rupees. So as you know, or as you have already seen earlier, if the income is 5 lakh rupees, then total tax amount will come to 12,500 rupees and entire amount will be allowed as a rebate. Consequently, tax amount will become zero. But if the income exceeds 5 lakh rupees, then this provision is not applicable. Consequently, one person has to pay tax at that. We have already tested this in our previous session, right? And for individual, this is the surcharge rate. Surcharge is levied on the income tax itself. You can say this is a tax on tax. Surcharge rates are 10%, 15%, 25%, and 37%. It depends. If the total income is more than 50 lakh, but up to 1 crore, then 10%. Above 1 crore, but up to 2 crores, 15%. Above 2 crore, up to 5 crore, 25%. And beyond 5 crore, 37%. This is the surcharge rate we levy. Okay. And also, for assessment year 21-22, this new section 115 BAC, this section has come for this particular assessment year, and because of that, the concessional rates, these are the various tax slabs. Concessional rates are 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, 30% tax can be levied at this rate. Okay, we have already seen this is the new scheme. In our previous session, I had shown you how to compute tax under the new scheme, right? You have remembered or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So all these past videos are also uploaded in the YouTube. If somebody wants, you can again refer that. But if you opt for new scheme, you know certain deductions you will not be able to get. You have to sacrifice this deduction. Okay, you have to sacrifice all these things. This is illustrative list of all these kinds of deductions, and you can go for this concessional rates new scheme. Okay, these are some deductions. Previous session I had told you already. So one can compare the new to old tax regime, that is a normal tax regime, with new tax regime and find out where tax is minimum, he can pay that. For farms, tax rate is 30%, surcharge is 12% if the total income exceeds 1 crore. Cess is 4%, AMT is 18%, 18.5% is applicable. For domestic company, if you talk about assessment year 2021, two rates are there. One rate is 25%, other one is 30%. Where 25% is applicable? If the gross receipt during the previous year 89 to 2018-19 does not exceed 400 crore, then tax rate is 25%. Otherwise, 30%. So your number of previous year 2018-19 is important for domestic company. Okay, right. For foreign company, two rates are applicable. One is 50%, other one is 40%. If the royalty is received from government or Indian concern as per specified agreements or fees for technical services, only for these kinds of income, tax rate is 50%, otherwise 40%. Such as you already know, for domestic company, it is 7%, and for foreign company, it is 2% if the total income exceeds 1 crore. And surcharge will become 12% for domestic company and 5% for foreign company if the net income exceeds 10 crore. Right. So we have to see whether the net, yeah. Okay, so this is the summary of that surcharge for company. Income up to 1 crore to 10 crore for domestic company 7%, and above 10 crore 12%. For foreign company it is 2%, 5%. Okay, and there are some optional rates for companies. If the company opts for this thing 115 BA, concessional rate can be 15%. 115 BAA rates can be 20%. 115 BAB rates can be 15%. But here, if they opt for this scheme, they have to sacrifice certain deductions, certain benefits. Then only they can go for. And under this section, surcharge rates can be like this. Under 115 BA, It may be 7% or 12% as we discussed right now. But if they offer 115 BAA or 150 BAB, such a rates can be 10% in the both the cases. In any other cases, for domestic companies, such as it can be 7% or 12%. Okay. And how minimum alternate tax and alternate minimum tax is calculated. We have already discussed this thing. Cooperative societies tax rates are 10%, 20%, 30%. If the total income is up to 10,000, then in the slab of above 10,000, 20,000 and 20,000 above 10, 20,000 respectively. Surcharge applicable for cooperative societies 12%. AMT is applicable. But for assessment year 21-22, there is an optional scheme. If they offer 115 BAD, rate of tax will be 22% flat and surcharge will be 10%. Cess will be levied at the rate of 4%. This is again an optional scheme. Local authorities tax rate is 30%, surcharge is 12% if income exceeds 1 crore. Cess is applicable. Right. And apart from these are the normal slab rates we have understood. And there are some specific rates which are there in the Income Tax Act itself. For example, long-term capital gain 20%, lottery, crossword puzzles, etc. 30%. Right, alternate minimum tax or minimum alternate tax 18.5%, anonymous donations 30%. These are few rates which are provided in the Income Tax Act itself. And in the previous class, I had also explained you the concept of marginal relief. Right, if the income exceeds marginally a particular amount, let us say exceeds 50 lakh or 1 crore, accordingly what happened, it may cause a genuine hardship and the taxpayer might have to pay a substantial amount, even if the income is marginally exceeding a certain amount. In such case, what has happened? A concession is provided or marginal relief is provided in such a way that the additional tax because of surcharge should not exceed the additional income. Right? In the previous class, we have seen this example already. You can watch this recorded video if you want. Okay. So now at these days, we have already understood various tax rates. Is it clear to you up to this as regards to tax rates?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.